And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to being your consumer advocate. It's all about helping you understand your buying decisions, making you just a bit more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Tampa Bay and the Gulf Coast region's #1 consumer advocate program right here. We're going to help you win. We don't care if you're climbing a ladder or if you throw a ladder in your truck on the way to work. This show's for you. We're going to educate, entertain, enlighten, but most importantly, we want to engage with you. Now, how can you engage? We'd love for you to reach out to our hotline, 813-670-7372. That's our consumer advocate hotline. You can reach out at 813-670-7372. Give us a call on the hotline.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
Now, you can also hit the website up, consumerqb.com. A plethora of information available for you on our website at consumerqb.com. You can see links there to past shows, previous shows. You can see links to all of our expert contributors, and we've got over 80 different categories of consumer advocate content and advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we're ranging from self-defense, health and nutrition, to real estate, credit, finance, estate and tax planning, attorneys that call into the show and appear as guests. And it's all about helping you avoid a lot of what I call the commission breath out there. You know, that seems like everywhere you turn, you've got somebody trying to sell you something, commission breath. We want to help you avoid a lot of that misinformation, bad information, and we're going to serve as your consumer advocate like we've been doing here for 7 years on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We got a great lineup for you today here as well on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We got Brandon Faust, Mold Zero. He's a co-owner of Mold Zero. Talking about some of the silent situations. Mold is a silent killer, and he's got several stories and instances of people that were had all these different medical issues, and they just weren't sure what's going on, getting all these different tests, running around from doctor to doctor, only to find out it was right underneath their nose, literally in their own home. They peeled back the baseboards. Sometimes you find mold in your residential properties. Also, as a landlord, you know, how does that open you up? How does the law look at you as a landlord if you have mold in a property? Got to find out, got to understand those different dynamics. And we're also going to dive deep with David Ringo, Travis McIntire from 3D Solar, and going to be on the show today as well, talking about his podcast as well, Solar Power Hour, things happening in that space. Now, solar is an emerging technology. It's a technology that's been around for a while, but it's even getting better, and it's a way that you can get rid of some of the electric bills that you have, reduce the amount of costs that you have, and we talk about running your home as a business, looking at it from on paper, you know, cost versus benefit factor. And you talk about Duke and Tico and some of the power companies. Right now, you might want to look at talking to 3D Solar, have them come out and give you a free estimate and how you can, you know, install these panels on your property. And it's going to help you save time and money, you know, when it comes to purchasing real estate, purchasing solar. We're going to help you do that through the Consumer Quarterback Show. This segment is brought to you by Two Maids and a Mop, the official cleaning partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Two Maids and a Mop. They do a great job cleaning our real estate properties. Highly recommend Tabitha and her team right here in Clearwater with Two Maids and a Mop. And they have safe, reliable, professional grade cleaning, and they offer that for home or commercial. Two Maids and a Mop, the official cleaning partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Give them a call. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on those special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, we got a couple of hot listings for this segment as well. We've got a property at 33308 CAMERTON Road in Wesley Chapel. If you want to live that rural, that lifestyle, that farming or the agricultural lifestyle with some horses out there, have some chickens in the backyard, this is a great opportunity. Got almost 5 acres here at a 4-bedroom, 2-bath home available as well up at CAMERTON Road in Wesley Chapel. This is Pasco County. You know, we had Pasco County Commissioner Jack Mariano on the show last week talking about a lot of the positive things happening in Pasco County. This is a great opportunity right here in Tampa Bay. Check out 20151 Powerline Road in Dade City. This is a property in Dade City as well, one of the northern side of our listing real estate business. So we've got 15 acres for sale. with lots of opportunities. Property has well septic as well. This is actually a landing strip as well for an airport. So if you are a private pilot and you want to look at that, 20151 Powerline Road, Dade City. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. That's platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
And it does seem like there's some rising optimism in the markets here with the Memorial Day weekend stock surge, is rising optimism over economic reopening, declines in new infections, and the progress in development of a vaccine. So good stuff happening here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, on and around the show. Stay with us. When we come back, we're going to have our feel-good story of the day and also more from our expert contributors. Got a great lineup for you today. We're going to talk about real estate, Mold Zero, and also more from 3D Solar right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Make sure you check out consumerqb.com. Follow us online at Brandon Rhymes1 on Instagram and Twitter, and we'll be right back after this short break.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
This is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with D'Angelo Star.
The 62 Who Knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance, Joe's Bar and Grill, but actually it's our 39th week. 62 Who Knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember now.
Ask him to me about
Yes.
to be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards.
Entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay, welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections for
Battles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left hand white, and then they catch the left hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
As your super connector, we want to introduce you to our 50-plus show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to.
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, you know, we're one of the only states that don't give them back the right. Got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step image. I love that image because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
If you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as Sisters Connected here, you know, with Women Unscripted, I know.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in any marketplace, buying, selling, or investing. We would love to talk to you. Published author, professional speaker. Check out our book on Amazon, Become the MVP. in your industry by surfing the radio waves. That's book number 2. Actually working on book number 3 right now. It's kind of an update to that book. Also helping realtors understand how to navigate these, tumultuous times here in real estate, and giving some tips and pointers about how we're recruiting to our team, joining our team, and we'll help you grow your business right here in Tampa Bay. Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty, recently featured in Florida Realtor Magazine again for the 6th or 7th time here, recently featured again for marketing and branding. And it's all about branding and marketing for our real estate company and our real estate properties. We've got a great investment opportunity at 2349 Grandin Avenue in Port Richey. This is a beautiful property, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, just a small, cute little home in Holiday. Actually, it's 2349 Grandin Street, Holiday, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, concrete block, 1-car garage, and it is a great opportunity to own a rental income property, potentially rent this out. It's listed at $119,000. Check out that great investment opportunity. 516 Alt 19 is another property that we've got. This one is a vacant land available in Palm Harbor. We've got great opportunities for builder, developers, vacant land, lots of other land available throughout Tampa Bay as well. A dozen or so home sites, commercial property sites here in Tampa Bay. Check out all of our real estate properties at platinummvpteam.kw.com. platinummvpteam.kw.com. I don't have my button on the right over there. I don't. So I'd like to play my little clips here. Yeah, here we go. There's our clip on the right. So we got Brandon Faust in the house here. Mold Zero back in studio. So Brandon, when it comes to Mold Zero, tenants, toilets, and termites, when people are buying real estate, sometimes they focus on the negative side. But when you got your Mold Zero, you're able to go out and do the dry outside. You actually make sure the mold's not there. Tell us a little bit what you've been up to.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, with hurricane season coming, it's a really important aspect of making sure that your home is protected, right? You want to make sure that any sort of water intrusion issues are handled. And water intrusion can come in many different formats. It can come in many different ways. So what we're looking at with hurricane season is making sure that the water that can come for the torrential downpour that we experience here in Tampa Bay and in Florida is really accounted for and properly solved. Right. So for one, you're going to want to make sure that you have gutters on your home. And that's kind of really what I wanted to talk about today, was how to help the consumers in regards to protecting their home and the different steps that they can take to make sure that they don't have a huge amount of water getting into their home. So like I was saying, you have gutters is a huge thing, because if those gutters are not pointed in a way that it's really pushing that water away from the home, you can get it coming in through the foundation,
right? Which
can definitely be an issue. Not to mention, if they don't have gutters at all, it's coming straight down and potentially getting in through the foundation.
Okay. I actually saw that on a previous family member's house. It was interesting because the roof came down at the same point on not 1, not 2, but 3 sides. So you had the front entry, the garage, and then also the main living, and it's pointing all the rain into one position. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's a kind of bad design almost in a way from the architect, because all the water dumped right in that little flower bed. And then what happened? Just exactly what you said, that water. And here, this is how it comes in Florida, right? A tropical setting. It all comes fast. It comes furious. Inches of rain in a matter of a short period of time. So yeah, it was coming exactly like you said, right through the foundation into the cabinets. And what a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, I actually went through my own experience with that, where I had an issue with my roof, some wind damage that I wasn't aware of. There may have been some other factors in regards to water coming in through the foundation as well. And I had been experiencing pain in my chest for a number of months and was getting fevers every month or so as well. I went to a number of doctors. They wanted me to do an EKG, which I did. My heart was fine. Other doctors that said, look, you have an autoimmune disease, you have Lyme disease, various diagnoses that, it was all pointing back to me to mold. I had even done air samples in my home, right, to see, do I have a mold issue? The air samples actually came back clean. But the thing that a lot of people don't know about is it's not just the spore, it's actually what's called a mycotoxin or a biotoxin that can really cause issues for people physically, right? And what can happen is different molds, they actually are very territorial. So they'll protect their space by shooting the mycotoxin at the other type of mold to protect their turf. Okay.
Wow.
So I had an AC overflow issue, and I was basically popping the continuous flooring in my home. I popped the baseboard, and sure enough, I had a toxic mold behind that baseboard. I did the flood cut 2 feet up, and there was actually another type of mold, which was Aspergillus penicillium. So these two different molds were basically having a battle in my bedroom, in
Wow.
2/3 of my bedroom. And then after 2 weeks of getting that removed, all the pain in my chest went away, right? The
Wow.
fever stopped. So it really is one of those things that you may not know about the source of the water intrusion, and it's really vital. Even myself as a professional, I should have spotted that. Honestly, that's on me. I should have been doing the moisture checking on the actual, because I did pop one baseboard, but it was clean in that area. So it was honestly a blessing that I found it the way that I did,
Right.
I
It's
was
a silent killer.
Yeah.
You didn't even know. And then you started investigating, pulling those baseboard back. And when you say the flood cut, that's like cutting the drywall about 2 feet high.
That's exactly right. 2 feet up, because the mold's going to start growing up the wall just where the water starts wicking up the drywall, right? And mold is going to feed on organic material, right? It's going to feed off of the paper on the drywall or leather or whatnot. So that was a water intrusion issue, but people have issues where it's not just a water intrusion issue, because you can basically have 90% moisture intrusion will lead to mold growth, but there's another aspect, which is 60% humidity will also lead to mold growth, or higher, right?
Yeah.
For a long period of time, So guys that are wanting to save money on their AC, they're running it high, maybe they go out of town and, they come back 2 weeks later, and before you know it, they have mold growing on their leather jackets. They have mold growing on, different items in their home, their luggage, etc. So when you have that type of colonization, it's usually indicative of the fact that the spore count is higher than you would want it to be in the home, right? So that's definitely where we could come in and do a thorough cleanup, wipe down, fogging of the home, right? We don't necessarily have to do tear out, because it's not an actual water intrusion source that we have to locate. It's just addressing the overall humidity, which is an AC issue, right? And then handle the actual spore count. So, you're really talking about two different causes of mold in Tampa. One is the leaks and water intrusion issues, whether it's from pipes or wind damage to the roof or not being waterproofed, and the other is the humidity issue as well.
We're talking with Brandon Faust here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, owner of Mold Zero, co-owner of Mold Zero. And when you look at the mold as the silent killer, I mean, that's a very, I think it's something that's underdiagnosed in our community with what you had mentioned, with people, having these conditions, potentially Lyme disease because of mold, but they don't know they have it in their home. And so let's talk about the solution. So you go out and you'll help people with the inspections, trying to troubleshoot, and also treatment.
Sure. So Mold Zero, we do a free in-home evaluation. So we're going to go in, we're going to use the thermal imaging, we're going to use the moisture meters to map out areas where there could actually be a problem. In a lot of cases, you just don't know where the water's coming from. Right. So our technicians will come out and they'll actually do that, to whatever degree. If it's a serious issue, then we might call in a leak detector or a plumber, etc. But we're going to at least diagnose kind of where things are at and give direction in terms of what can actually be done to handle the problem in that particular home. Right. Now, if it is let's say it's an AC issue and they have what's called cladosporium that's built up in the vents, it's in the ducts, it's on the coils, right? Well, now those spores they're not just in the ducts, of course. All you have to do is walk by mold for it to release the spores. So somebody could be taking in this sort of moldy air all night long, and it's causing headaches, joint aches, respiratory issues.
Right.
Obviously, I'm not a doctor, but I've dealt with a lot of clients of functional medicine doctors or other doctors that have kind of told me what they've run into, and these are the types of things that they're reporting.
The mold doctor.
Absolutely.
Mold doctor.
Well, we definitely do help on that. We help the home for sure. So, with the cladosporium, we're going to get the ducts cleaned by a licensed HVAC guy. Okay. Right, and then we're going to sanitize the ducts using our proprietary system, using hydrogen peroxide and a commercial grade vinegar. It's a non-toxic solution to bring that spore count down. Not only does it address the airborne spores, but it also addresses the spores that are on the surface. Okay.
Yeah.
And we do have a system where the dwell time is long enough, because a lot of the fogging systems, they fall down where the dwell time is actually just, it's not long enough to kill what's airborne. But we do have a system that actually lingers about 3 to 4 times longer than any other fogging system out there on the market. So it can actually handle the airborne spores.
Let's talk about this side of the business. So we talk a lot about real estate here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, residential, someone is owner occupying that property. What about the landlords? Because I've heard some stories over the years about tenants bringing issues to landlords, them not acting quickly. There's potential for some major issue there.
I mean, that's a difficult topic, you know, and obviously speaking to landlords, what I would say is, look, there's liabilities connected with that, you know, and if you don't jump on it fast enough, you're in a position where you could potentially be negligent, you know, so you do want to address it. You want to make sure that a professional does go out there and actually looks at it. Now, obviously, you don't want to overdo it. You know, you don't need to have somebody come out and tell you, hey, look, this is going to be a massive job that is way more than really needs to be done. So you want to talk to somebody who knows their stuff, isn't going to go cutting out things that don't need to be cut out, but at the same time finds the actual source of the problem. Is it a water intrusion issue? Is it an AC issue, you know, where the coils and the ducts got, you know, moldy? Is it, you know, a problem with the crawl space and the stacking effect, which basically is that hot, humid air kind of hitting the planks at the bottom, and then the moldy air is actually coming up into the house that's causing physical issues? Whatever it may be, you need to find the actual cause of it and then address that particular thing. And our estimators, our technicians will help, you know, a homeowner, a landlord do that, and also address it rapidly. You know, the majority of our treatments can actually be done in less than 24 hours, depending on the scenario and the situation. If it's humidity related, we can absolutely handle it within, you know, under basically 8 hours, and then the homeowner can be back in the home 3 hours after the treatment.
Yeah, that's important. And you mentioned also with the, and by the way, check out moldzero.com. We're talking with Brandon Faust here, moldzero.com, consumerquarterbackshow.com as well. When you think about the real estate side, and you've got these very right here in Florida, we're coming into our peak heat season. The hot season is here. Get ready for it, right? But the attics in these homes, if they're not built properly, I know we found some issues when we were building our home about a year and a half ago, new build, and the baffles that were in they're basically down by the drip edge. You know, if the baffles are not put in properly, you cut off your roof flow, your ventilation. So those things that poke out on the top of the roof, you know, that is, that's allowing air out of your roof. So, you know, those are potential issues as well. It's like you got to make sure you have an inspector inspecting a new build and then inspecting the home as well. We work with Jay Smith, A Snoop Inspection as well, Greg Bowman, AC guy of Tampa Bay. But those are great people to talk to about these potential issues as well.
Exactly. So finding the actual cause of it, and also making sure, like I'll give you an example. I was at a home yesterday on Davis Island, and the guy was selling his home for, I think it was $1.2 million. Okay. And it came back, you know, they wanted to get a mold inspection done on the home, which I absolutely advise. And here in Florida, I would say, look, make that part of all your inspections, just so you know, right? But also, you don't want to necessarily overdo it. So these guys had a mold inspection come back. It really was not that severe of a situation, but the agent came back wanting to pull $100,000 off of the price of the home.
Wow.
Because of this mold issue, where honestly it could have been handled, you know, for not even 10% of that, you know, in terms of the actual issue.
Yeah.
You know, so I understand it can be a scary thing, but at the same time, it doesn't need to be a scary thing. There actually is a solution.
Right.
For me, I could have handled that problem with that home as long as there's not, you know, water intrusion issues that are unknown about, but the tests were definitely not showing that was the case. We could have handled that within 24 hours at a fraction of that cost. I mean, way less.
We just recently had that very same thing happen, a very interesting scenario with, you know, potential rain coming in through the stucco, causing potential mold issues. And this is why it goes back to negotiation. And the negotiation starts before you have an offer. The negotiation starts before you have a contract. It starts when you list your property for sale, especially if it's a, you know, 5, 10, 15, 20-year-old property, you know, anything over 3 to 5 years, really. you want to get a pre-inspection done. If you're selling that property, I want to know what I'm selling.
Absolutely.
Just like, we just got an appraisal done on one of our bigger parcels of land we're about to list. A commercial property came in around $1.9 million. You want to know what you got, because then it avoids that second round of negotiation.
100%.
And a lot of those buyers are going to walk away at that time.
Right.
When that 4-letter word MOLD comes up,
the worst 4-letter word in the English language for a lot of people, let me tell you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
In real estate.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And that's where it's smart to know ahead of time, right? So if you do have an issue, you can tackle it and you can show that you have a clean bill of health for your home. Right. And that is something that we actually guarantee at Mold Zero as part of, they sign us up, as their mold company. We're not going to stop until they actually get a clean bill of health. We'll go in, we'll estimate the job, right? We're going to do a deep dive in regards to what's going on. And then if it comes back where it's even moderately elevated, we're going to keep going until at no extra cost beyond the initial estimate to make sure that is handled. And if they have an independent inspector, where in some cases that is actually, you have to have that where it's more than 10 square feet of visible mold, or it may be discovered, right, in the process, and you'll bring in an independent inspector. Well, we're going to guarantee that they're going to get a clean report from that independent inspector. We'll keep coming back until that's done.
Nice.
And we also offer a 1-year warranty on all of our work as well. So it really is crucial that you have a company that stands by their work. They're knowledgeable, they're professional, they're going to take responsibility. If something doesn't go the way it should, they're going to jump on it right then and there. And that's one of the things that we have as our culture at Mold Zero, is that they can actually have, the cell phone number of one of the owners. They're going to get either me or my business partner on the phone if there's an issue that's not getting resolved. We don't have a problem with that. We have 25 staff right now. We're expanding. There's more and more of these larger jobs that we're taking on. Right. Just because our reputation is starting to, get out there in terms of what we can do. We're not just a sanitizing company. We don't just handle mold. We also do water mitigation, emergency services, but that's something that's always going to be the way it is.
Let's have everybody text mold if you're interested and want to have a consultation, free consultation, for upfront inspection, or 813-670-7372. Text mold or call 813-670-7372. We'll put you right in touch with Brandon and his team at Mold Zero. All right. Hey, good stuff. Thanks so much, Brandon. We appreciate the nuggets there. We got Travis McIntire up next. 3D Solar in the house. Stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Check out our website, ConsumerQB.com. Follow us online at Brandon Rhymes1 on Instagram and Twitter, Consumer Quarterback Show page on Facebook, as well as the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams on Facebook. We'll be right back after the short break.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at ConsumerQB.com. listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. A couple of hot listings here for this segment. We've got a property at 7736 Grand Boulevard. This is up in Port Richey, Pasco County. Great opportunity to own real estate. Got a commercial building here, commercial office place ready to go. Renovated office opportunity in Port Richey across the street from the water. So there's water close by. 7736 Grand Boulevard in Port Richey. Great buying opportunity here in Tampa Bay. And we also have vacant land, 4207 Cox Drive. This is a corner lot on the corner. It's a peninsula. Build your dream home on this lot. Owners looking for $250,000 for it at 4207 Cox Drive, Land O'Lakes, on a ski lake, Bell Lake in Land O'Lakes, 90-acre ski lake. Check out all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. And let's give a shout out to the Bilmar Beach Resort. Beautiful opportunity to take your family for a local vacation or a staycation right here in Tampa Bay, as we say. Get away. Bilmar Beach Resort, Treasure Island, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. 2 pools on site, Sloppy Joe's Beach Bar and Restaurant right on site as well. Beachfront rooms. You literally open the slider, you step out, and you are on the beach sand, the Sugar Sands of beautiful Tampa Bay right here. Check out our friends at the Bilmar Beach Resort. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you and take them up on those special offers and incentives and enjoy some beach time.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
All right, we're going to the phones now. We got Travis McIntire, 3D Solar, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Welcome back.
Thanks, Brandon. Always a pleasure. I hope everything is going well with you and your family through this virus.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Yeah, real estate is deemed essential, and it's on the go. I tell you, we put 4 or 5 properties under contract over the weekend, and it's been busy. So I feel like there was so much pent-up demand. Right now, people are coming out. They're taking advantage of this low inventory market, and the buyers are getting theirs while they can. Talk to us about what you're seeing on your side. 3D Solar, Tampa Bay Business Journal's Fast 50, ranked number 8 on that list last year, and 3D Solar doing some big things in the community.
Absolutely. I see a group of people that have come together as a team at 3D Solar, and when it's gotten slow, we've made a couple extra phone calls. We've David Ringo, the owner of 3D Solar, has just gone beyond of anybody I've ever worked for. I think today marks my 3-year mark at 3D Solar and in solar. So thanks,
Congrats.
David. A shout out goes to you, and I appreciate you. But at any rate, what I mean by that is just we've seen it getting much busier. We're starting to see the demand start to build as people have been home for these past couple months, and they're getting larger than normal electric bills, and they're thinking, oh my goodness, maybe it is time to check into solar. And they're starting to drive by and see a couple installations here, a couple installations there, and curiosity is starting to build on whether solar will work for me. And that's when I'm starting to see people reach out and start to ask the questions, will it work for me?
Yep, and that's the question. Will it work for me? A lot of people are having that question. So the answer is?
The answer is, let's find out. And as I've seen, it doesn't work for everybody. Mm-hmm. And buyer beware. What I'm up against and what I've seen and being in the home over the past couple months especially is that people don't fall into, you got to buy by 7 o'clock or the deal ends.
Right.
And don't be pressured to buy solar. What you're going to do when you purchase a solar system, you're going to renegotiate your power rate for the next 20 years or for however long that you own that home. It's not for a day or a year. You're literally negotiating your power rate. And the reason why people go solar is to avoid the dreaded inflation of 4 to 5% per year that the utility companies are notorious for and that they do. And that Duke, 2 weeks ago in the paper on Sunday, Duke put that there's a $2.6 billion upgrade coming to Florida that's already been approved. So they can do a grid upgrade for storms in the future. I understand that they're doing it, But the buyers are going to pay for that, and people that don't do their homework they're just going to pay a bigger bill if they don't go solar.
Wow, yeah, that's the one constant is change. Change is always constant, and one of the things that you can lock in with 3D solar, and we've personally used it. A lot of our expert contributors, I talk about how I personally work with them. I use their company, their resources, and Travis McIntire did a great job. 3D solar coming in, and what do we got up there, Travis? We got like 52 panels, I think. On our home.
Got a 15K. Absolutely. You got a good size system, and it was a new home, so we're still kind of feeling it out. And the good thing is we do have the in-phase microinverters, and if we need to add to that system as your usage increases or whatever in the future, we can do that. So that's one of the nice things about what we use. But I got to brag about the owner for a little bit, man. David, it really bothered him that we had a couple people write in and gave us the dreaded bad review. And in today's world, I know business owners feel the same way. You make one mistake, one wrong phone call, and you've got a bad review, which is a tarnish to your name. So David, I've never seen an owner do this. He calls the people up and said, "Listen, I'm the owner of 3D Solar. How in the world can I make you happy so you can please, the company, the people that work for me, especially now, we weeded out a lot of the bad people that gave us those reviews." And he's like, "What can I do to make you happy?" So he goes out, moves modules, does whatever it takes, and if you read our reviews, they changed them and put a good review because an owner of a company actually stood up, took responsibility, and made the situation right. Wow. That is what 3D Solar is about. Nobody does that.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that story.
I know.
That's a great that's a great story, man. Yeah.
That's why I worked for it. 3 years has been worth it. I've just seen growth after growth. And as far as penetrations and being on people's roofs, and with hurricane season coming, we have a 25-year leak-proof guarantee. So when I'm on your roof, I'm not going to void your warranty, and I'm going to guarantee it for 25 years through us and the manufacturer. So hurricane season's coming, people. Let's start thinking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking with Travis McIntire, 3D Solar, longtime friend of the program here, the Consumer Quarterback Show expert contributor. And when you talk about solar, you talk about the future. You talk about not only doing the right thing for Mother Earth and the positive thing for the environment, but you also think about the savings. Let's look at the pocketbook. Let's look at the balance sheet of your personal financial statements. And as a business owner, you look at those things all the time. You look at your cost of goods sold. You look at what your conversion rates on your listing appointments. You look at all those different aspects. But as a homeowner, I think more and more homeowners need to really look at their home as a business, Travis.
They do, and they need to start taking into consideration that when you have a $200 to $300 electric bill, you're going to spend $3,000 a year on your electricity. That's $30,000 over 10 years, and people don't even put it in perspective. So you could put that toward owning your system, and a payoff would be near, and then you wouldn't have a bill, with the exception of your connection fee or whatever your surcharges are to Duke or to Tico, whoever you use. So stop getting a pile of receipts and get you some solar savings, because if you have a sales rep that's trained by 3D Solar, they're going to come out and size the system right. And if it's not sized right, we have a production guarantee. I'll add panels at the end of the year if I don't meet my obligation. So you're guaranteed results.
Now, you also have this nifty Enlighten app that comes with your installs. So what I'm able to do now as a homeowner is I'm able to pull up my application here, and I can see the energy production by day, by month, by week, by year. And it's pretty cool. So I'm going to hold it up for the screen. I know it's pretty far away, but you can kind of get the gist of what I'm looking at here. If you're watching our TV show version, you can see the production versus what we've actually produced versus consumed. Right, Travis?
Absolutely, and I can absolutely see that when I leave the house that my wife likes it colder, and I can see the spikes of increase when she turns that AC down. Now, I'm not going to tell her that I know that because it'll cause a war, but she's doing that. And it can be good and bad and addicting, because it's fun to watch what your roof's doing every day and to make sure that, hey, is this system working? Well, that app will tell you every day, did I do the right thing? And the answer is most of the times absolutely.
Yeah, and let's talk about Duke and Tico and the different power companies, Florida Power Light. You'd mentioned how many billions of dollars are they going to be doing an upgrade on? It was $2.something billion.
$2.6 billion. And one thing I want to stress, though, is that so many solar companies, they try, and I used to do the same thing. I'm going to raise my hand up and confess this, but we try to villainize the utility companies. But in essence, you can't have rooftop solar and solar only to power the grid and power the world. You have to have, because when it's nighttime, how are you going to produce solar energy? So until you have storage enough to where we can actually harness all the energy we produce during the day, and that will suffice getting us through the evening, we're going to have to rely on some type of a coal or natural gas. But what solar needs to do is take the forefront and leave natural gas and coal as a small percentage of our use. But people need to be realistic. We're going to have to work together with the natural resource in order to have a sustained grid until we figure out storage on a large capacity.
Yeah, and that's the next chapter. We've talked a little bit about that with batteries, right?
Oh, wow. So exciting. There's an in-phase ensemble program that just came out that actually it has a smart switch, which shuts off the grid from the system so you can run live during the day. But buyer beware, salesmen are going to undersize that. And you have to have a pretty good-sized battery system to run the AC in the whole house. So just be careful that you're make sure you're dealing with a professional that knows how to size those, or you'll get taken on that.
Yeah, we're talking with Travis McIntire here. 3D Solar is the company, friend of the program. Support the local economy. A lot of this show, we talk a lot about a collaborative economy, supporting this local economy here in Tampa Bay. And by doing that, you can reach out to Travis McIntire and his team, 3D Solar. Give us a call on our hotline. Anything you hear about here on the show, we'd love to connect you with our experts. 813-670-7372. That's our consumer advocate hotline. 813-670-7372. Call or text that line. Also visit consumerqb.com. You can see links there to all of our expert contributors, the finest folks in all of Tampa Bay and the Gulf Coast region of Florida that we've assembled, we vetted, and we bring on the show to help you understand more about your buying decisions. Today we're talking about solar here. Earlier we heard from Brandon Faust as well, Mold Zero. And you also have a podcast out there. So David Ringo has Solar Power Hour with a lot of content on it as well, Travis.
Absolutely. Always fun to watch and always fun to learn, because David's a guy who's up at 4 a.m. and he goes to bed at 11. He studies solar all day long. So it's fun as the trainer of 3D Solar to train people the right way, because if you start them off right, sizing systems properly and knowing how to close a deal without force or without pressure, it really makes this business fun.
Yeah, and the solar, I think, what do you think is the reason why some people don't go with the solar? They're not there yet. What do you think it is? I mean, because you've got financing options. You know, some people could say, oh, well, I can't afford it, the money side. Well, you got financing options. You know, there's really, I'm trying to figure out, like, why more people aren't doing solar.
It's so funny you ask that, because I sit across from people, especially when you show savings. You know, you're showing them $700 a year savings, and they're looking at you. And I think it's just people are used to not looking at an electric bill. It's nothing that they've ever had to think about before. And now we have an option. So doubt is creeping in that don't trust that sales guy, and that's too good to be true. And I think once we get over the hump and more solar systems are installed and more testimonies are put online, people will begin to bridge the gap from reality. Yes, this is real. Yes, this will work for me. But that comes with watch out for the tricky sales guy. No deal ends at 6. And if the system's sized right, you will get your savings. You just have to take your time and buy. Don't be sold. Solar.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you also think about some of the businesses that come in and they undercut, you know, I had an example of that close to me, and it was, you know, they came in, they made the great offer, the price was lower, and then they bought, they got sold, as you say, right? They got sold. And then what happened about 2 or 3 months later, the gentleman called me and said, hey, you know, that company went out of business. I know you said you had a solar company that works with your show. Could you introduce me? Because there's, I think it was like 390 of us that are left in the cold with a bankrupt company.
Yes. Yeah, Brevard Solar, and God bless them, but they did go out of business because they were trying to, anything that's too good to be true often is. Your average per watt price in Florida is usually about $350. Most of your really good solid companies are going to go between $3.25 and $350 per watt, and which means your average payment would be about $150 to $200, depends on your bill. But if it's sized properly, that's all you got to do. But these scumbag companies come in, they undersize the systems to make the payment cheaper. Then they put on the hot water heater on the roof and throw all these gimmicks in. But it's brass tacks. How many kilowatt hours did you consume, and how much can I produce? And is your roof open enough that it can do it? If that's all you got to do is stick to the basics, and that's what I teach my sales team. Don't go fluffy on people. Keep it simple.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Think about the savings. Think about the payoff. You know, once you get your payoff done, now you're looking at very low. You said you got some clients that are paying what, $21 a month for just a connection fee?
It's awesome. And I had one company, and I'll say his name, John Zard, a great man in South Tampa, retired colonel in the U.S. Air Force, as sharp as it gets. And then Mark Gaines, who lives in South Tampa, our first job in the historical district of Tampa Bay, we got approval for. Very proud of that. We fought hard for that. But my long story short is that we had 3 referrals in a group that all had net zero bills from TECO, which is about $15 a month. So it's really fun when someone refers you to make that person look good by doing the right thing for them too. And that I love doing.
Absolutely. All right. Well, hey, good stuff. We want to thank Travis McIntire, 3D Solar, David Ringo, and the team. Check out Solar Power Hour, and that's the podcast. Of course, you can download that, find that where all the podcasts are out there as well. And, hey, thanks so much, Travis. We appreciate you calling in today and spending some time with us.
Pleasure and an honor as always. You guys have a great day, and keep kicking it, Brandon. I appreciate you.
All right, will do, my friend. Thanks so much. 3D Solar, support your local economy right here in Tampa Bay. Another one of our expert contributors. You know, we've got about 80 different categories, 50-plus show partners where we talk about a variety of different real estate-related companies, some that are not. Some are mostly health and nutrition-related. We have attorneys, CPAs, financial advisors here that we can connect you with on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we appreciate our radio and TV show family. You're reaching out more and more, it seems, now with this COVID-19 and, you know, wanting connections and having that feeling, that moral obligation to help support this local economy through free radio. This is broadcast radio here. If you're listening on 860 The Answer, maybe our weekend show on 102.5 The Bone, or following us online at Apple TV, Amazon, Roku, WeBeam TV as well. So we appreciate you reaching out, and we're going to be right back. We're going to have more from Brandon Faust, Mold Zero. Our feel-good story of the day coming up as well as a feel-good story every day. We're doing, we got a high school principal travels 1,500 miles to honor each graduating senior at their home. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at ConsumerQB.com. listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right. Thanks so much for hanging with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We appreciate it more than you know. Brandon Rhymes here. I'm your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show. A couple of hot listings here in Tampa Bay. 14527 Potterton Circle in Hudson. This is a great opportunity to own real estate in Tampa Bay. Great rental, great starter home, entry-level home here in Hudson. Gated community, wonderful neighborhood. Owner pride definitely shines through at 14527 Potterton Circle in Hudson, listed at $205,000. Great opportunity to own real estate here in Tampa Bay. Check out 520 George Street South. Now, this one is in Palm Harbor, Tarpon Springs area. It's right on Lake Tarpon. Bring your boat, bring your jet ski, bring your stand-up paddle boards, and enjoy that Florida lifestyle at its best. Listed at $499,000. Great opportunity. Surprised it's still on the market. 520 George Street South, Tarpon Springs. Private dock, mother-in-law suite, freestanding single-family home right here in Tampa Bay. Check out all of our real estate properties at platinummvpteam.kw.com. And this segment is brought to you by Brothers Easy Moving, the official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show, Brothers Easy Moving. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, they are a first-class organization. They did a great job with our family's move, local moves, interstate long-distance moves, packing, junk hauling, and office moves as well. Brothers Easy Moving, the official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Give Gary Thacker a call. He's the owner. Let him know the real estate quarterback sent you. Take him up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, every day we're going to tell you something positive in our feel-good story of the day. We always want to tell you something good.
Tell me something good.
All right, we got a high school principal that travels 1,500 miles to honor each graduating senior at their home. A Texas high school principal has brightened the day of seniors and their families by bringing their graduation to them. Scott Roods, principal of Booker T. Washington High School for the Performing and Visual Arts in Dallas, has traveled 1,500 miles over a 10-day period to congratulate each of his 240 seniors personally at their homes. And wow, I just got to say that's above and beyond. What an awesome principle there. One of our core values at our school is to ignite joy, says Roods. And quote, and this is what I saw on their faces of my seniors and their families. Just a few minutes of joy in the midst of all this uncertainty. Videos of his appearances, which include him dancing and seniors handing his diploma. To one as she traveled headfirst down a water slide and are now making rounds on social media. Quote, I think it started with the fact that I'm a father of a senior and I feel it, he told KD, and I feel the anguish and sadness over missing a lot of the activities at the end of the year. And he added, whatever presents in life, find the opportunities that are there and run with it. That's one of the things that we do best at the school, like ours with artists, is to teach them to view the world from multiple perspectives and to create an expressive. And I think it's what gets them through the hard times. There's our feel-good story of the day. I love our feel-good stories of the day. Those are really good, and it kind of paints that picture of brightness out there. And so we've got Brandon Faust here in studio. Mold Zero is his company, moldzero.com. And Brandon, let's go kind of into our lightning round here. When we talk about top tips, things to avoid, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom.
Absolutely. Well, with the season upon us, obviously hurricane season starts here in Florida the 1st of June. I'd say first thing is don't sit on leaks. Okay, if you have any sort of water intrusions with your home that you already know about, you got to jump on that now, because mold is not going to get better. It gets worse unless you actually get rid of it. So make sure that you have no water coming into your home. I would say that it's a good idea to have a dehumidifier in every home in Florida, just in case, your AC breaks down for a little bit, whatever might happen. Also, you need to have a company on hand that can do the dry out. Mold Zero does do that. We do water mitigation as well as doing the mold treatments. So you want to make sure your home is dry, because bottom line is where there's water, there's life. Okay? Yeah. And the life that usually comes from water, especially in a home and building materials, is mold. And mold can cause physical issues for you or your family, your kids, right? So you want to do something about it before it becomes an issue. All it takes is about 48 to 72 hours for mold to become a problem.
Absolutely. All right, for my tip today, I'm going to talk about a 30-day challenge. This is a 30-day no complaining challenge. So many times you hear people complaining and it just drives you nuts. And by the way, nobody wants to hear about your problems anyways, right? So no complaining challenge for 30 days. And also take it to the positive. Let's flip that to the positive. Phone a friend. You might have a friend, a family, a relative, your grandma, someone that you haven't talked to in a while that would like to hear from you. Maybe an old football coach or someone, a teacher that was positive in your life. Call them. Say hello. Talk to them about things that you're doing right now. You don't know how much that one phone call can mean to someone. And so the 30-day no complaining challenge, and also phone a friend and do something kind for one another. Kind of our random act of kindness, but on a different level here. And just remember as well, with the military, you serve, you save with us. Platinum MVP team. A lot of our show partners have discounts for military veterans, first responders. We've also extended that to teachers and nurses as well. So some of those frontline workers, we're going to offer you benefits and discounts if you work with us. Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. Also, a lot of other show partners have deals and plans for veterans, first responders. I know Diane Vance with Fairway Independent Mortgage does. So we would love to connect with you. Reach out to our hotline, 813-670-7372. This is the Consumer Advocate Hotline, 813-670-7372. And hey, another great show. I want to thank Brandon Faust, Mold Zero, Travis McIntire, 3D Solar, and all of our listeners and viewers out there, our producers. Appreciate all you do. Please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. We'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Make sure you check out consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time.